We live in a time where evil is most certainly thriving all around us. You see it everywhere. You see it in politics. You see it in the healthcare system. It is literally everywhere. And I don't know, there's no exceptions when you're talking about the ones who swore to serve and protect. Law enforcement, they are probably the most evil group that's just flat out right in front of your face. So it always brings the question for me, why would a black man want to join these societies? Why would you want to join the police force? It goes back to what Nip said in his song when he said, I wonder what it come to in your brain for you to run to. Ones that hate us, handcuff us and mace us, call us dumb niggas because our culture is contagious. Third generation South Central gangbangers that live long enough to see it change us. Think it's time we make some changes. Finally wiggled out, they maced us. Find me out in different places. Spooked by the door, this the infiltration. Those some powerful words. Now, exclude the gangbanging part, and if you listen to what he was saying, the overall message in that was, why would you run to people who clearly hate you? Your very existence disgusts them. They wish you never existed. So why would you run to that? Join that and try to seek their approval. Turn your back on your people. And I understand the thought process of most of these black officers going in is probably, man, I'm trying to make a change in the community. I don't want any of this violence to continue to circulate. But I mean, there's other alternatives to that, better alternatives. Lead by example. Be an example of peace for the next generation that's coming up. These folks, these societies are not an example of peace. They take more lives than anybody. They come and kill people off the streets every day. We all know what these societies are about, what they're capable of, and who they fall under. They work for a system that is created to keep a certain collective group of people down and to keep another group of people on top. Slaves and masters. That's the system. But anyways, man, we could talk about that all day. The overall point of this video is I want to show y'all a few times when police officers and, the force as a whole kind of got what they deserved for putting out all of this hatred towards our communities. Things that have been going on in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're going to start here on December 20th, 2023. 3 different incidents happened in Baton Rouge or close to Baton Rouge that all had to do with something pertaining towards corrupt police. We're going to start off with this one.
Details tonight in the officer-involved shooting of a Hammond man. Lionel Jackson is still hospitalized nearly 2 weeks after being shot by an officer in his home. Katie Easter is in Hammond.
Lionel Jackson's attorney tells me this situation has been mishandled since the moment officers went through his front door.
There's just so much wrong that was done in this case, and this is not just me talking and saying this. This is stuff that the chief is knowledgeable of.
In an initial report, the only thing made public so far about the shooting has minimal details. It contains the basic that Jackson was shot in the neck by an officer inside of his house. It also makes no mention of Jackson being armed.
We just want to get to the bottom of it. We want to see the policies and procedures. We want to see the training. We want to see whether these officers complied with the national standards when they were executing this no-knock warrant. We want to make sure that they did the right thing. So
WBRZ has sent several public record requests to the Hammond Police Department, including their official police policies. After I was told it was ready to be picked up, I was immediately notified that the city attorney needed to look over it.
And I believe there's a reason why it's being covered up, because in this case, a close family member of the chief was involved in this. And I think what the chief is willing to do is protect a close family member instead of upholding this oath.
Washington says the department's lack of transparency is not giving him any confidence in the internal investigation.
Why is the police chief not releasing the body cam footage? If there's nothing to hide, release the body cam footage. It's not gonna harm the investigation at all. All it's gonna do is it's gonna allow transparency. It's gonna allow the public to know exactly what happened.
Once Jackson's released from the hospital, he'll be arrested on several charges, including illegal possession of a firearm, but Washington says that gun was nowhere near him. I reached out to the city attorney for a timeline of reviewing those public documents, but I have not heard back. In Hammond, Katie Easter, WBRZ.
That was crazy, right? Man got shot while sleeping in his home. Now, fast forward, because that was a while back, the videotape was finally released to the public, and now this officer will have to stand trial for his deeds.
A police officer in Hammond is under criminal investigation after shooting a man over the summer. Craig Dunn named as the officer who shot Lionel Jackson in July during a no-knock warrant. Katie Easter joins us with what she found out.
Sources tell me Hammond PD officer Craig Dunn's under investigation by the Attorney General's office and the FBI for excessive use of force. The case handed over by the district attorney. However, Dunn's still working as a police officer after an internal investigation cleared him of department wrongdoing.
He made an attempt to explain exactly why Craig Dunn used excessive force, used deadly force. And that was just a little unusual to see that because they want to create their own narrative without releasing the best evidence in this case.
Last week, attorneys for Hammond police officer Craig Dunn responded to a lawsuit filed against him by Lionel Jackson. Jackson was shot in the neck on July 15th during a no-knock warrant. Jackson's attorney, Daryl Washington, says Jackson was in bed when Officer Dunn pulled the trigger on his modified automatic rifle.
If Lionel had a black object in his hand, if Lionel was running through the hallway the way they said he was in their response, well, let's see that in the body cam. If they can show that to me in the body cam, then I'll sit at the table and talk to them. But if they cannot show me that Lionel was running in the hall, that Lionel had a black object in his hand, then our position remains the same, that Craig Dunn was not justified in using deadly force, and Craig Dunn should be held accountable.
According to legal documents, Jackson was flushing blue pills down the toilet and did not respond to officers' commands when they entered the house. Dunn pulled the trigger in fear of the team's lives. But Washington says body camera footage paints a different picture.
You can clearly see that there's blood on Lionel's pillow, the pillow that he was on. You can see from the angle in which this guy fired his shot that Lionel was in his bed. So any story that they are trying to bring forward right now will not be supported by the evidence.
An internal investigation took place days after the shooting. Legal documents say Dunn was punished for not having his personal body camera on, but was not punished for excessive use of force. However, sources close to the case confirm Dunn is under federal investigation. Dunn is seen here in this video from 2017 holding a suspect down as the now police chief punches him.
It is very difficult for me to believe that he should remain chief of police of Hammond. I think that the city council and the mayor need to methodically go through our findings. I would be surprised if they would come to a different conclusion.
WBRZ previously reported that the Hammond Police Department did not have the correct certifications to conduct an internal investigation. I have resubmitted several public record requests, including for a copy of those body-worn cameras from that day. I've been told since drug charges are pending and because the investigation ended done, I cannot have some of those. Katie Easter, WBRZ News 2.
So which one was it? Law enforcement? Was the man running down the hallway with a black object in his hand, trying to point it at y'all, making y'all feel like y'all had to take extra measures? Or was he in the bathroom flushing you-know-whats down the toilet like y'all claim? I mean, he couldn't have been doing both. And like the lawyer said, there was clearly bodily fluids on his pillow, which shows that something happened in his bed. And we all know where that bodily fluid came from. It came from what you all did to this man. So I'm leaning towards the lawyer's story. Why not release the footage? If the footage shows from y'all internal investigation that the police officer, Mr. Dunn, was not wrong, just release it. Simple as that. Let me know how y'all feel about that one. Then we have situation number 2, which involves a street crime unit, basically a gang unit, NBR, and it reads, Baton Rouge, disciplinary hearings for officers linked to the Baton Rouge Police Department Street Crime Unit will be held next month after a state district judge dissolved a temporary restraining order that put the cases on hold. The arrest of these officers stemmed from an incident in 2020 when a person was strip searched, beaten, and shot with a taser. Officer Jesse Barcelona, Todd Thomas, and Doug Schultz were all arrested and charged with malfeasance in an office. Disciplinary hearings for the 3 were scheduled prior to criminal hearings. The Baton Rouge Police Union criticized the decision to hold hearings so quickly, saying officers often can remain on administrative leave until further along in the legal process. Ample time should be given for the process to remain undamaged by haste, the union wrote in a statement last week. Wow, ample time. This happened in 2020. They're just talking about it in 2023 going into 2024. This hearing will not start until 2024. So it'll be basically 4 years by the time these officers even go up for a hearing about this situation. So y'all have been on administrative leave for almost 4 years. How much more time do you expect for these officers to get? And just the fact that they had a restraining order and all this different type of stuff that prolonged the case, come on, man, that's just crazy. That's something that only officers get when they commit a crime. Like, they are not above the law. Lawyers for the officers in BRPD told District Judge Taval Smith on Wednesday that they had met and resolved a disagreement over how quickly the policemen had been set for disciplinary hearings. They told Smith the hearings would be conducted January 12th, about a month after they were initially scheduled. Deputy Chief Myron Daniels, one of 5 candidates to be replaced, Paul was in Smith's courtroom for Wednesday's hearing and said afterward the agency was pleased that the hearings would go forward. Expected that a new chief will be in place by the time the disciplinary hearing case comes up. So basically what this is another tactic from the police department, the boys with the badges, to push this case back even further. They are telling the judge, we're going to have somebody in place for these hearings so these officers can get what they deserve. But the thing is, they are going to push it back when it comes around next month. And that chief is still going to be lingering around, but not really in office. They ain't going to find nobody. I guarantee you, all of a sudden when his date pops up, they ain't gonna find nobody. This is another tactic. That chief stepped down so he can help his deputy officers not get convicted of a crime and what they are doing to people out here that they swore to serve and protect. It's crazy. How can people work for the law and not hold themselves to the same standard that they hold everyone else to? If you work for the law, you should never step outside of the boundaries of the law. I'm just saying, these men need to be convicted. This law enforcement agency knows that this case will get these men convicted. They committed a crime and they need to be held accountable for it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. That judge should have been took care of this. This is just crazy. But let's move on to the last one. Blackman, a grand jury in Iberville Parish, has indicted the St. Gabriel police chief on a slew of charges, including money laundering and malfeasance. The indictment Friday also includes counts of conspiring to commit money laundering, theft of $25,000 or more, conspiracy to commit theft, and filing false public records. On Saturday, Kevin and his wife, Kaline Brown, turned themselves in at an Iberville Parish jail. The pair were booked and posted bond. Last summer, deputies raided the St. Gabriel Police Department and Chief Kevin Ambiul's home. They seized computers, laptops, and phones. At the time, investigators said the raid was connected to missing money from a double murder case. Turns out the money was found after searching an area of St. Gabriel Police Department's evidence room that was not combed over. More recently, new allegations surfaced alleging a kickback scheme with a local business owner and Chief Ambiot. Months after the raid took place, Ambiot maintained he did nothing wrong. I look at it as if they say 3,500 is missing, they have to get to the bottom of it, Ambiot said. I'll cooperate with them, and I want the public to know I didn't put my hands on anything. At the time, Ambiot said he welcomed any investigation. I wouldn't jeopardize my retirement and entire career for 3,500, Ambiot said. I gave that away here just helping people. Attempts to reach Ambiot, the mayor of St. Gabriel, and the business owner implicated the case were not successful Thursday evening. Or to give more clarity, the police chief of Iberville Parish, or St. Gabriel Police Station to be more specific, Kevin Ambiot, or MBU, however you say it, he was raided. His home and his headquarters where he worked was raided because he was stealing money. He stole money from different crimes, crazy things, even a murder scene that we talked about on this particular channel. He stole money after they picked the guy up, double back, booked him or whatever, was booking evidence from the evidence room, not reporting it, and just doing all type of different corrupt stuff. Now, this got exposed because one of his deputy officers actually put out this information, told the feds. Now, this officer is one case where you can say he's a good officer because he's willing to even put out the evil that's going on within his precinct. So you got to respect him for that. You know, at the end of the day, this is what we ask for. We ask that police officers speak on the corruption that goes on within their own precincts, tell on other officers when they are doing wrong. So you got to give this man his respect. But that did not come without its own set of issues, because this police officer, after telling on his police chief, he was fired. He was fired. And now he has to worry about the police division trying to get back at him. Now he's a civilian. So if they want to pull him over, take him to jail for whatever, plant stuff on him, and not to mention he's a black man. So, hey, this is what I was saying at the beginning, the Nipsey verse. I wonder what it comes to in your brain for you to run to. Ones that hate us, handcuff us and mace us, call us dumb niggas because our culture is contagious. Remember, they will never accept you.
At 6 o'clock, a longtime employee at the St. Gabriel Police Department is suing the town and the chief, saying he was terminated for being a whistleblower.
Last month, St. Gabriel Chief Kevin Ambo was indicted for malfeasance, theft, and other felonies. The investigative unit and Chris Nakamoto spoke to the chief and the man who calls himself a whistleblower and explains why he says he was retaliated against for speaking up.
Sylvia Michael, the whistleblower, says he provided the FBI and sheriff's deputies with pictures of personal property that he says Chief Ambo had taken from a drug arrest. Tonight, he believes his termination stems from trying to do the right thing.
The questions that they asked me, I answered them.
For nearly 2 decades, Jamal Carter worked as a St. Gabriel police officer. Things took a dramatic turn last year when he says he cooperated with the FBI and Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office.
I spoke to somebody about it.
About what he thought was wrongdoing at the St. Gabriel Police Department.
I was there for 20 years, and like I said, I worked with him the whole time, and there's no reason for me to lie on him, and I wasn't going to lie for him, Chris.
Carter and his lawyer, Ron Haley, filed this lawsuit that says once Chief Ambo learned of Mr. Carter's cooperation with the Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office and the FBI, Mr. Carter's workplace environment at the SGPD became hostile. The lawsuit says Chief Ambo would openly make comments such as "that expletive Maul," short for Jamal, called the FBI on me. I'm going to get that expletive. I'm going to fire that expletive.
What good deed goes unpunished? He is a civil servant. He is doing the right thing. He noticed something was wrong. He spoke up about it. He alerted the proper authorities. He cooperated. The things that you would want somebody to do and be rewarded for, he was punished for.
Last month, Kevin Ambo was arrested and charged with money laundering, theft, malfeasance in office, filing false public records, and obstruction of justice. Ambo's ex-wife and a business owner in Sunshine also indicted.
I think the public knows that
it's mandatory that you prosecute the lower level type criminal activity, but it's incumbent upon us to make sure we police ourselves, and you just can't have corruption with the public's money.
Tonight, Kevin Ambo is still denying any wrongdoing and says all proper procedures were followed to terminate Carter.
He said, I'm going to terminate it.
And it was actually done by the city council. Ambo had no comment on the lawsuit because he says both he and the city have not been served. Ambo is due in court at the beginning of next year. Sources say the investigation remains open as they continue looking into whether there are other instances of this. Michael?
But that's all I got for y'all, family. Let me know how y'all feel about this. If y'all like this, we'll do another one. I'll do one for each city. Crazy things going on with the police department. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell and follow me on Instagram at allfactsKingKO, all lowercase. That is a place where I will always respond. Peace and blessings, kings and queens, and all praise be to the Most High. I'm out. Believe it up.